All right, we got Culture Killed Concord from Laura Fryer. Oh boy. Let me see.
Culture killed Concord. It's that simple. When you fail this spectacularly out of the gate with issues that are easy to validate with customers, the people that pay you so that you can make games, well, you have a culture problem. Either
Damn, she comes out of the gate so winging. This is crazy, dude. Bro, my favorite part about Concord failing is that over the last week or two, so many people have came out and made videos about why Concord failed. And I think there are more people that have watched why Concord failed than, well, than people have bought Concord in the first place. That is the most hilarious thing that like ever. Like more people know about Concord failing. So like the brand awareness is there. But everybody realizes that it was just a bad game. It came out at the wrong time. It's too late. The characters are ugly, so on and so forth. Oh my god.
Firewalk Studios had the information they needed and they didn't bother to fix the issues in the game, or they never asked. Either one of these situations is a problem.
Goodbye.
Every game has many unknowns when you start out. That's why game development is so difficult, because it's iterative. You have to make the game while paying attention to what is going on around you, because gaming evolves. What players like.
I mean, and that's a big issue, because when it takes you 8 years to make a game, the gaming atmosphere changes. What you thought at year 1 may not be exactly what you think at year 8. 8 years ago, everybody was all about hero shooters. 8 years into the future, hero shooters, like, they're just like, They're, That's what I think about hero shooters. They're just
changes. This means you need a studio culture that has a healthy feedback loop. Clearly, that didn't happen with Concord.
Nope.
Let me explain. First, if you haven't...
They had a thought about the kind of game that they wanted to make, and I can at least respect Firewatch or Firewalk? Whatever. I can at least respect the studio for sticking to their guns and not changing anything about the game. It's like, this is our game, and this is what it is. And I can at least respect them for that. But, I mean, yeah, you could do that. You could come out with a game and not change it and not listen to anything about what anybody says about your game. And you can release it to the public, and then you could just see what happens. And they did. They did see what happened when the game came out. Nobody wanted to play it. Game lasted less than 2 weeks. A housefly lives more than 2 weeks.
Heard, Concord shut down after 12 days. It had less than 1,000 concurrent players and less than 25,000 units were sold. Cost-wise, I've seen estimates that said $250 million plus was spent.
Damn.
Also, they were in development.
That's a movie. That's like at least a mid-level to upper-level, like a big ticket obviously 250 million. That's like a big upper-level movie. Yeah, imagine like if Iron Man 1 was made for I don't know the budget of Iron Man 1, whatever it was. Let's say it was like 200 million. Imagine if only 1,000 people saw Iron Man 1. We would not have gotten anything else from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just imagine that.
Development for over 6 years, and this is the first issue we'll talk about. That is a long time to make a game.
Yeah.
And the landscape of gaming evolves.
I mean, shit, did it take like Overwatch 8 years to make Overwatch? Or did it take longer? Because I know when Overwatch came out, it was like supposed to be like a different game, and then they cut it, and then they started iterating on this like whole hero shooter ability spam thing. And then that's how we got Overwatch. But did it take 8 years to do that? What the hell were you guys doing for 8 years?
Let's take a look at what was going on when Concord started. Overwatch had just shipped, and it was a spectacular success. Being inspired by the success of Overwatch is not a surprise. Everybody would want to make an Overwatch. The problem is that they took several years to make the game, and the market changed. They needed to adjust. Unfortunately, this is not a new story.
SOE.
This happened to Sigil Games when they were working on a game called Vanguard. Vanguard was a massively multiplayer game started in 2002. The company was founded by Brad McQuaid, who is credited with making EverQuest, one of the most successful games at the time. I joined Vanguard as the Microsoft executive producer at the same time I started on Gears of War. I remember...
Oh, wait, so she's a Microsoft executive producer talking shit? This is so good. I love this. Oh my god. There needs to be more of this. More executive producers talking shit about dog shit games that came out. This is so good.
When EverQuest launched, because everyone at Microsoft stopped doing their jobs and started playing the game. So I wasn't surprised when Microsoft signed the deal to make Vanguard. They wanted the next EverQuest. We were so excited about this game.
I have no idea what the hell Vanguard is. This was before my time.
Problem was that the market changed rapidly when Blizzard shipped World of Warcraft in 2004. WoW massively expanded the market, bringing in more casual players. Suddenly, you didn't have to camp a spawn for 20 hours like in EverQuest. You could leave your computer. You could even use the bathroom. It was awesome. It was a whole new world, a world gamers liked. Unfortunately, the Sigil team didn't want to hear that feedback. They didn't accept that the market had moved, and they were designing Vanguard to be more like the original EverQuest.
Dang.
In fact, they refused to play the game, which I found very confusing.
That's kind of telling. That if you want to make a video game and it falls under like a certain genre, it would stand to reason that you as a game dev have also played games under that certain genre, because I would assume that like a lot of game studios try to do the whole avoid comparing the game we're creating to any other game. But I mean, in order to get like a good idea of what you're trying to make, don't you have to have inspiration from like another game? But also conversely, it is understandably like not like that, because it wasn't like that for the first game of any particular genre defining game.
For context, most game developers play every game that directly competes with theirs. They play to learn and for inspiration. They play to make sure that when they ship, that it's something players want, that it's something they'll pay for. You can't afford to make a massively expensive game and then hope that you're going to attract an audience. You need to know that there's an audience for your game. You have...
Yep. Who is the target audience of this game? Nothing about it makes sense. The characters are horrific to look at. The graphics seem subpar. The dialogue is terrible. The market is saturated. Who was this game made for? Oh, man.
Have to build it with the players in mind from the start. When we playtested Vanguard, we were finding players didn't like it. It was too hard. There was too much grinding. Unfortunately, Sigil didn't want to hear it. Some of the team were actively hostile when we tried to discuss it. When you have people giving feedback and you're openly hostile to that feedback, a lot of people, most people, will just shut down. They'll just stop telling you what's wrong or what they think should change, because they don't need the stress or they don't want to lose their jobs. And this creates a broken feedback loop. So it's not surprising that the market changed out from under the team that was making Concord. The question is, why didn't they adjust? Did they not see it? Or did they playtest, see the issues, and not make changes?
No, probably the second one. Because if you think about it, look at Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is also an objective-based hero shooter, like Overwatch. It's just, they had all the established IPs of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that game popped off. So how did Concord fumble the bag?
Or maybe they had a hostile work environment where people stopped giving feedback. I saw this report recently claiming that there were big problems within the Firewalk studios. I have no idea if this is true, but if
report. Concord dev demanded co-workers refer to her as a professor, pushed extreme politics, and demanded her unvaccinated colleagues to be fired. Yeah, that would do it. I don't know if this is true either, but if it is, I wouldn't want to work there either. Shit, man. Bro, professor? Excuse me, professor. What are we in? Fucking high school? Or college? Excuse me, professor. Does this look good? Yeah, I think you could redo this and this and like what? Pushed extreme politics? Jesus. That seems very enjoyable. And demanded her unvaccinated colleagues be fired. Well, why did you hire them in the first place if you knew they were unvaccinated? You just cut out the middleman. Stupid.
If it is, it's not surprising that the feedback loop for making the game better was broken. Here's what happens when you have a broken culture and no creative dialogue and no feedback loop. All of your best people leave. All the best engineers, the best designers, the best artists, they know that they can find another job, even in this tough job market, because they're provably good. They have a reputation.
And that is so funny that you need to be able to cater to the people that know what the fuck they're doing. All right. If you want them to make a good game, let them make the good game. Don't push your professor on them. Don't push your extreme politics on them. Whoever is making the game, let those good people thrive and not merely survive while making the game. Who cares if their politics aren't the same as yours? You guys have the same goal. You guys want to make a good game, right? So quit fucking around with your stupid ideas.
They don't want to waste their time. Then you have your next group, the people that are good but aren't confident or don't want to look for a job. That group simply shuts down. They stop giving feedback. They stop dealing with the people that are making the environment toxic. They know they won't get fired for their work, so they make sure they stay out of the controversy. And now you just have everyone else. You have inexperienced people or people who don't feel afraid expressing their opinions. And those vocal people will start driving the design and the look of the game. And that isn't what you want. You want everyone giving feedback and making the game better. We will likely never know exactly what was going on at the studio, but to me it's clear I
think they should make a documentary about what happened at Firewalk. I think that would sell way more than Concord did. So, oh man, that would be so cool if somebody made like a documentary. Man.
Didn't build a culture of feedback because they didn't make a game the gamers want. Let's take a look at one of the other problems. Characters. Creating inspirational characters that people want to play. This is really critical to the game.
Yeah.
I know, because we had this exact problem on Gotham City Imposters.
Let's get that blindfold off you. Welcome to Bat's HQ in this shit. As you
Gotham City Imposters. Wasn't this like the Batman version of Overwatch? If I recall correctly, I could be wrong. Like when I first heard about this game, I was like, what is going on? This seems so out of place. I had no idea what the game was. So I just stayed away from it. I'm like, maybe there's like an audience for this, but I am not the target audience.
You know, we are dedicated to honoring Batman's nobility through our words and deeds.
For context, Gotham was a first-person shooter that shipped in early 2012. It was made by the team at Monolith that shipped classics like No One Lives Forever and Fear. The idea was based off of this clip from the Batman movie.
Don't let me find you out here again.
We're trying to
Oh, shit.
help you.
I don't need help.
Not my diagnosis. What gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pants.
I'm I'm not wearing hockey pads.
When you look at these
Oh man, that's funny. That's how like an entire game can get made by like just a simple scene from a movie. That's crazy.
wannabe Batman clones, they are average people. They aren't inspiring like Batman, and that's the point. They're average people cosplaying Batman on the weekend. And it's funny. And this team leaned in to that humor.
Huh.
At that time, we were making the game for young men that like playing first-person shooters. Generally, the age range for this group was around 14 to 24. The Gotham team loved first-person shooters, and they were good at making them. At the same time, they were older. This team had been together for many years.
Oh,
so
dang.
they knew that they needed to validate their assumptions with real people that would be paying for the game. This is how we found out that we had a problem with our characters. The people that were going to pay for the game didn't feel the characters were inspiring enough. It turns out that a group of adult game developers who are confident in who they are find it funny to play a fat slob or a skinny guy with a shotgun. Younger players, not so much.
Ah. And that is, I think, very telling to see that your taste changes as you get older. When you're young, you might one thing, but as you get older, you might like something else. Like seldom, almost never do people like the same thing throughout the entirety of their life.
And if you think about it, you can see why. I went through awkward stages. There were many times in my life where the last person I would have wanted to play was me in a video game. At first, it was very difficult for some of the team to hear this feedback. Part of that was because the team was very small, so making a new character was going to be tough. Also, it's never easy for an artist or creator to hear that there is a problem with their work. It's one of the hardest conversations you can have with a creator. But ultimately, you have to find a way to have this conversation, or you end up with a failed game. You just can't make games without considering who will buy them. You have to appeal to the people that are going to play and love your game. And that brings us to the next problem, the $40 price point. If you ship something for...
Oh, the $40 price point, bro. To me, the $40 price point, it's a more fair price point for a video game. But with that, I understand that the same amount of quality and detail can not be there. Like, it's great if it's there, but I understand that if I'm paying less money for a video game, that I don't expect that game to be like AAA like quality. I'm expecting like maybe one or two game modes. Luckily, you're lucky if the game has like a progression system. What else? Like you're lucky if the game has like a balanced team. And it's a first-person shooter, so I really doubt they had an anti-cheat. Maybe they did. I mean, I don't know. But yeah.
free. You can't change the price later and charge more. It doesn't work. People anchor on that free and they never go back. So maybe that's what Sony was thinking. We had a similar issue with Gotham City Imposters. We didn't feel that Gotham City had enough content to charge $60. So we went out and we asked our target market what they would pay. What we found was that there were basically two price points, free and everything else. From a community standpoint, we felt it would be better to ship Gotham as a free-to-play game because we felt more people would try the game and we'd have more players. As you saw with Concord, if you are a multiplayer-only game and nobody is playing, it dies quickly. Of course, these were early days of free-to-play gaming on consoles and PC. Many gamers didn't like the free-to-play model. I was one of them. I still prefer putting down money, getting a disc, and playing the game forever.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to agree. Like, when you say the word free to play to me, I immediately think some live service game. There's multiple versions of the battle pass. There's a store that, funnily enough, is always able to work. There's never an instance where the store is inaccessible. But if the game crashes, going to the store always works. How you get cosmetics is you go to the store and you pay like some form of currency for the cosmetics. Maybe there's like some gun cosmetics, some character cosmetics and whatnot. There's daily challenges, weekly challenges, monthly challenges to the game. Maybe there's a rank system. Maybe there's gonna be like a public version of the game mode, and you're lucky if the game has like some limited time for funsies, whatever modes. And you're even more lucky if the live service game has an anti-cheat, because if we all know if a competitive FPS starts to pop off, there's going to be cheaters in it, and if that company isn't prepared to deal with the cheaters, then it's going to just be littered with cheaters, and that's the perception that the game has it is riddled with cheaters, and then nobody else wants to play.
That is my preferred purchase. But we weren't making the game for me. We were making the game for our target audience. Keep in mind, Xbox didn't have a free-to-play game at this point. In fact, they had just started experimenting with a game called Happy Wars, which shipped in October of 2012. So we were stuck, and that's how we ended up in this in-between stage, which some people didn't like. I thought this review from the Cynical Brit really captured it, and he was very fair with his feedback.
Extra points for that. The debate, I suppose, with a title like this is whether or not it should be a pay-to-play or free-to-play game. And it's weird, the market's in this weird state at the moment where they'll willingly accept Call of Duty and its progression system as a $60 title on a yearly basis, but if you have a similar progression system in anything below $60, people say it should be free. What? I was reading the RPS.
Eventually, Gotham was a free-to-play game.
That is a good point. I think that the reason that point is good is because Call of Duty, what was it, in 2012? At that point, Call of Duty had pretty much established itself as like a good brand, a very reliable brand. It had a lot of anytime it released a game, it was great. I don't remember if there was the meme of Call of Duty being released and it's essentially a Control C, Control V situation in terms of like the game. It's literally the same game, just from a different studio. I don't know if that meme had risen its ugly head yet. Maybe it did, but I don't think it was as just tangible as that same meme is today. It's just, new Call of Duty comes out, it's the same game, so on and so forth. When a new Call of Duty came out, it was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play it. But, fast forward a couple more, like 10 years, and it's like all the other Call of Duties came out, and it's like the meme started to like become more and more real every year. Yeah.
But unfortunately, it never recovered. It never got the interest it needed to continue. The leadership that made that game left the company, and WB Games abandoned the title in order to focus on their new franchise, Shadow of Mordor. Shipping a game, any game, is really hard. So I give Firewalk Studios a lot of credit for shipping it all. They should be proud of having gotten it out the door. I personally am not happy to see them fail. I find the situation sad because for my...
Yeah, like, as a gamer, I don't want bad games to come out and fail. I don't want games to come out and fail. Like, that is not the case. I want games to come out and succeed. All right?
My perspective, it could have been different. I felt the same way about Vanguard when it failed. Sigil and I didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I had hoped that when they moved back to Sony, a culture they were familiar with, they would fix the game and ship something wonderful. But sadly, that didn't happen. Much about the games industry has changed over the years, but making successful games still requires building a team and a culture where feedback is heard and acted upon. Every problem on a game is known by someone on the team or the customer. And if you can surface those issues and act upon them, then you're going to make a better game. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Culture matters.
Dang.
When you're slowing down to the speed of a slug, you gotta chuck, bigger chug. When the long day's got you feeling fat as a rug, you gotta chuck, bigger chug. Don't be a wuss, take it to the extreme. Pop open that can full of fluorescent green. Chugga, bigger chug.
Vigor Chug is not for everyone.
Vigor Chug.
Dry mouth, headache, nausea, vomiting.
Oh, man. I get it. The whole vibe of Batman imposter or whatever this game was called. I get it. When that game first came out, again, I mean, I didn't really pay it any mind, but I don't know, maybe I was like a little too old. I mean, you said the target market was like from 14 to 24 or whatever. Maybe I was like a little older at that point, but maybe I wasn't. I don't know. I just remember seeing that game and I was like, eh. I was maybe it's not for me. That was my thought process. But dude, this video was so good. 100%. I had no idea that she was like a executive producer and she just comes out swinging. And look, you got like another video, why Concord. Like, this is what I'm telling you. There's more videos being made about why Concord failed than than people bought Concord. I don't think I've ever seen a game do this. This is the first of its kind. Oh man, this is so good. Oh man. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I thought the video was cool, for sure, and I hope to see more. Like more executive producers coming out and just saying their things, what they think. 100%, 100% support it. But okay, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.